in Seoul. South Korean President Moon Jae-in and U.S. President Donald Trump spoke on the phone last night and had a pretty long conversation lasting over an hour. They discussed the outcome of the historic interkorean summit on Friday and plans for the U.S.-North Korea summit. Oh Jung-hee is on the line for us with more. Jung-hee, fill us in.
Good morning, Jian. South Korea's presidential office confirmed this morning that President Moon Jae-in spoke with U.S. President Donald Trump last night for 1 hour and 15 minutes. President Trump first congratulated President Moon on the successful inter-Korean summit and said it represents significant progress in Seoul-Pyongyang relations. President Moon replied that the inter-Korean summit lays the groundwork for success in President Trump's own summit with the North Korean leader. The leaders of Seoul and Washington reaffirmed that their governments will continue to coordinate closely to achieve the complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. Now, on that front, the two agreed that it'll be helpful to hold a Washington-Pyongyang summit as soon as possible to keep up the momentum of the inter-Korean summit. They have narrowed the possible locations of the meeting down to 2 or 3. President Trump said he's very much looking forward to meeting with the North Korean leader. Meanwhile, President Trump tweeted last night that he had, quote, a long and very good talk with President Moon and that things are going very well. He added that the time and location of his meeting with Kim Jong-un is also being set. Back to you, Jian.
Thank you, Chung-hee, for that report. Not long after his call with President Moon, President Trump spoke on the phone with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And according to Prime Minister Abe, they agreed that North Korea must take concrete action to denuclearize and said they will be monitoring the regime closely. They spoke on the phone Saturday for about 30 minutes. Prime Minister Abe also said President Trump briefed him in detail about the conversation with President Moon. The Japanese leader said he also plans to speak with President Moon Jae-in on Sunday. The defense ministers of South Korea and the U.S. have reaffirmed their commitment to finding a diplomatic solution that can ensure the complete denuclearization of North Korea. And according to the Pentagon during a phone call on Saturday, South Korea's defense minister Song Yong-moo and U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis agreed to continue working together to achieve their common goal of a complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of North Korea, as reflected in multiple UN Security Council resolutions. During the conversation, Mattis also reaffirmed Washington's ironclad commitment to defending its ally using the full spectrum of its capabilities. U.S. President Donald Trump at a campaign-style rally in Michigan Saturday said he thinks his summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will be held within 3 to 4 weeks. That's earlier than expected. President Trump has said before that it would be held in late May or early June. President Trump said his summit with Kim would be very important for the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. North Korea's state-run media reported on the inter-Korean summit on Saturday, a day after the summit took place. And the regime's news agencies reported the full content of the Panmunjom Declaration, including the term complete denuclearization. Park Ji-won has more.
The North Korean Central Television on Saturday dedicated its entire news program to coverage of Friday's inter-Korean summit. Its earlier newscast did not show video of the summit, and 5 presenters just delivered details of the talks. But its later newscast on Saturday evening showed video of the summit, mainly in chronological order, from the face-to-face encounter between President Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un to the two leaders' joint declaration, the welcoming dinner, and finally their farewells. The North state-run media outlet also read the full text of the Panmunjom Declaration, including the wording complete denuclearization.
North and South Korea confirmed the common goal of realizing a nuclear-free Korean peninsula through complete denuclearization.
The wording used was almost identical to the declaration that Moon and Kim signed Friday evening, with a few minor changes, like changing the order of both countries to North and South Korea instead of South and North Korea, which was written in the original statement. North Korea's state newspaper Nodongshinmun also reported the summit in detail on Saturday. 4 out of its total of 6 pages covered the summit, containing more than 60 photos of Friday's historic event. The photos showed a wide range of images from the summit, and the newspaper also printed the entire text of the Panmunjom Declaration, including the expression, complete denuclearization. North Korea's state media, the Korean Central News Agency, also reported on the summit saying the historic declaration will be a milestone which will promote the two Koreas' prosperity and unification. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
After the leaders of the two Koreas announced the Panmunjom Declaration, lawmakers of South Korea's political parties seem to have had mixed reaction towards it. The ruling Democratic Party of Korea praised the statement, claiming that the declaration will not only change the relations between the two Koreas, but become a historic turning point that will bring big changes to the Korean peninsula. The minor opposition Bareunmirae Party also reacted positively, with lawmakers calling it a highly symbolic act that touched the hearts of the people. However, the main opposition Liberty Korea Party criticized the move, claiming that the declaration was all talk and no action, pointing out that it does not contain any details about how North Korea would denuclearize. Let's turn the spotlight to the general public now. Around this time last year, people were talking about Korea being on the brink of war. So when the two leaders vowed that there would be a new era of peace on the Korean peninsula, it's easy to understand why many South Koreans were so excited. Won Jong-un looks at how the historic announcement was perceived by the general public.
When the two leaders from South and North Korea announced the Panmunjom Declaration to the public on Friday, people in the South cheered and applauded the statement.
I'm very glad that the summit was more successful than expected. I think it was a memorable and meaningful moment, being able to witness how things unfolded on such a historic day.
I think the results are above expectations, especially because I didn't think they would agree to an official declaration of the end of war.
I think it's great news for the Chinese, South Koreans, and North Koreans. I've heard there could be war several times during the 10 years that I've lived in Korea, and my parents have been telling me to come home. I'm so happy with the results of the summit.
The leaders agreed to a range of measures aimed at promoting peace and reconciliation between the divided Koreas, including holding high-level dialogue in the near future and resuming family reunions on National Liberation Day on August 15th. And there are other things some of the Korean public would like to see happen.
Reunions of separated families should take place regularly, but besides that, economic, social, and cultural exchanges should also be regularly carried out following today's successful summit.
It was a shame to suspend tours to Mount Baekdu due to an unfortunate incident. But I hope the momentum of increasing ties between the two Koreas could mean the tours resume again.
As the two previous summits held between the divided Koreas in 2000 and 2007 didn't lead to much in the long run, there were some concerns that this agreement might end up like those past cases. But some people who watched this third inter-Korean summit live on TV said that this time, things could be different.
Since the past summits were all held in Pyongyang, I felt like they were somehow one-sided meetings. But I think I can see the positive side of the Panmunjom summit.
The summits in the past were kind of led by North Korea, but I see some difference in this year's meeting between Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un at Panmunjom.
It might be too early to tell whether the joint declaration will lead to a different result than the previous agreements between the two Koreas. But at least for now, the Korean public can finally hope that this is the start of an era of lasting peace on the Korean peninsula. Won Jong-un, Arirang News.
South Korea's foreign ministry called in the ambassador from China Saturday night after a Chinese military plane trespassed into South Korea's air defense identification zone earlier the same day. According to the officials at the foreign ministry, Deputy Foreign Minister Yoon Sung-gu summoned Ambassador Chu Go-hong and called on Beijing to find ways to stop such incursions from happening again. The South Korean Defense Ministry has also responded. The ministry says it called in China's defense attaché in Seoul and logged a stern protest. According to South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Chinese aircraft, believed to be a reconnaissance plane, came close to the southeastern city of Pohang. The Chinese side is said to have claimed that it was part of a normal flight training in international airspace. Moving on to the weather, clear skies are forecast nationwide during the day, with the temperature getting warmer, but it's also going to be getting cooler in the evening. It's also projected there'll be high levels of fine dust. Here's a look at the weather conditions for Korea and the rest of the world. That's it for now. See you soon.